Before you go any further, stop and sincerely answering following questions. Are your wants part of God's will? Are the gifts more important than the giver? Are you trying to co-lead rather than follow? Are you asking God to bless something that goes against Him? Are you devoting yourself to something more than to Him? When someone inquires, "What's your biggest dream?" does a specific version instantly flash before your eyes? This question often prompts us to delve into the depths of our aspirations. For some, this dream might be a cherished vision nurtured since childhood, constant companion through life's twists and turns. It could be a dream that has morphed and evolved over the years, adapting as you have grown and experienced more of the world. Alternatively, you might be among those who haven't quite nailed down a concrete dream. It's possible that you have floated from one idea to another, never really latching onto a particular ambition, or maybe you have felt too cautious or uncertain to fully embrace any specific aspiration. This hesitation can sometimes stem from a fear of acknowledging our deepest desires, especially in a world that often judges us based on the practicality of our dreams. And yet, it's important to recognize the societal context we are in. We live in an era that celebrates dreamers. Modern culture is enamored with stories of people who dare to dream big and chase those dreams with relentless passion. Our movies, books, and media narratives are filled with tales of individuals overcoming obstacles to achieve their heart's desire. This glorification of dreamers create a backdrop against which our own dreams, or lack thereof, are contrasted. Thus, when we are asked about our biggest dream, it's not just a simple query about our hopes and aspiration. It's a question that touches on our identity. Whether we have a clear dream or are still searching for one, the question serves as a mirror reflecting our deepest fears, hopes, and the very essence of who we aspire to be. In a time where ever popular do what make you happy lifestyle rules the day, where our walk with God fit in. To love something is to know it, which is why it's important than ever to reprioritize discipleship with Jesus before our dreams slowly but surely wash His glory out of our lives. The journey of following your dreams and the path of walking with Jesus can appear strikingly similar in many aspects. Both paths call for a profound level of commitment, sacrifice, and a deep connection with one's heart's desire to attain a state of true fulfillment. However, there is a critical distinction between the two. Genuine peace, a peace that transcends understanding and worldly success, is found in the pursuit of a life with Jesus. In contrast, chasing after personal dreams often leads to an ephemeral sense of peace, one that is fleeting and illusory. Consider the metaphor of our feet, designed to step firmly and decisively in a singular direction. When they are tugged between two divergent paths, the self-divine route of my way and the spiritually guided paths of God's way, our progress is hindered. The dichotomy is a significant challenge for many believers. They find themselves unable to fully commit to either, resulting in a feeling of being spiritually adrift and not quite reaching the destination to which God is calling them. In Western societies, particularly, this dichotomy is accentuated. We live in a culture that champions individualism and personal expression. The ethos of being one's true and authentic self is lauded, and any notion or belief that seems to counter a person's individual truth is often viewed as an affront to their identity and community. This cultural backdrop makes the concept of surrendering one's independence and personal dreams to a higher calling challenging and counterintuitive. But then arises the question, why do we often experience a profound sense of emptiness or disquiet when our action and choices run counter to God's teaching? This feeling cannot be simply dismissed as a guilt or a byproduct of cultural conditioning. Rather, it speaks to a deeper truth about our existence. As creations of God, there is a fundamental void within us, a spiritual hunger that no amount of worldly achievement or self-actualization can satisfy. This void can only be filled by God Himself. This realization brings us to a pivotal point in our spiritual journey. It invites us to re-examine the values and ideas we have been brought up to cherish. It challenges the narrative of self-fulfillment and personal glory that is often propagated in our societies. In places of these, it offers a different vision, one where fulfillment and peace are not the end product of our achievements and dreams, but are found in aligning with our lives with God's purpose and direction. Such a shift in perspective is not just about renouncing worldly ambition, but about reorienting them in a way that aligns with divine principles. It's about understanding that our deepest fulfillment comes not from the accolades and achievements we accumulate, but from living in harmony with God's will and design for our lives. This spiritual alignment brings with it peace and contentment that the pursuit of personal dreams alone cannot provide. This is no doubt a confusing lesson that we spend years figuring out. Denying yourself doesn't mean you are no longer yourself, but rather more of the person God had in mind for you to be. Have you tried going it alone only to throw your hands up and say, "Alright God, you take the wheel now"? It's okay to revel that God is smarter than you and actually knows what's best for you. As contrary as it may seem, following ourselves is a distortion of who we really are. When we follow God, He mirrors our true selves because He knows the entirety of who you are, past, present and future. Our entire lives, we have been told to follow our hearts, but our hearts deceive us time and again. As Proverbs 4:23 instructs, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. When we do things that break God's heart, we can't expect those same things to fix ours. What a beautiful thing when your calling and your dreams collide. But if following your heart doesn't end in God's glory, it's time that dream be crucified. There is no other way around it, as hard that may seem. As a true follower of Jesus, you know you hold the power to get through all things with the Holy Spirit's trusted help. Before you go any further, stop and take inventory. Determine what's more important to you by sincerely answering following questions. Are your wants part of God's will? Are the gifts more important than the giver? Are you trying to co-lead rather than follow? Are you asking God to bless something that goes against Him? Are you devoting yourself to something more than to Him? Surrender your desires and willingness to God, because He is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than you could ever think to ask. As Christians, we are not delusioned that this path doesn't come without pain. Heartbreak accompanies everything you leave behind, and you must adopt a die daily attitude. But this path is purposeful, filled with joy, and leads to an everlasting peace that doesn't just come and go with every achievement. Behold in Him, believers, so that the next time someone asks you what your dream is, you can say, whatever Jesus has in mind, because I am following Him.